I'm Scott Van Dusen here in Rochester, New York, and that's Cole Boillat in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hi, Cole.
Hi, how are you?
Great, thanks for asking. He's just released Circles. It's from his forthcoming album. And man, it sounds to me like you're in a personal revolution. What's going on? What's Circles all about?
So Circles is kind of a culmination of the last year and a half since I released my first EP of me trying to move more so into electro indie pop. And it's just kind of been a lot of messing around in the past year and a half, and Circles kind of has just come about in the last month or so. Um, so basically with Circles, I started it up as a project called because it wasn't when I first started it sounded really weird. It didn't sound good, and I was like, this I guess I'll save it just in case. And so I saved it, came back to it throughout the week, started kind of actually really spending a lot of time with it, and realized it had some potential. And the more time I spent with it, it really started to kind of pan out really well. And so once I kind of had a foundation laid down, I tried to think about what I could write the song about that would really uh, make it the emotional song I wanted it to be. And what more emotional and more moving than the recent events of terrorism and some of the terrible things that have happened to so many different people, so many different groups of people recently. And so that was really touching for me, and I'm sure for many people. And so Circles is just kind of dedicated to those who have been hurt recently, who have lost a loved one. And it just kind of touches on how these terrible things that happen, they really put into perspective some of the smaller arguments we may have, some smaller things that happen that really aren't that important at all. Things that really should just be put aside, and because anything can happen at any point in time. So that's really what it meant to me in the end, and I think I really did a fairly good job at pushing that through in the final product.
The vocals have a life of their own. It's really great work. I love the swirling, panning, synthesized like textures. Discuss that.
So, yeah, there's definitely a lot more vocal tracks than I've ever really worked with. There's essentially what I was going for, and is obviously more of a modern and pop mainstream to an extent sound of processing vocals, because a lot of it sounds really awesome, and that's why people like it. Me being one of those people. And so another thing I was going for is just trying to take the sound of my voice, the very bland kind of baritone nah that it is, and try and just make it as many different things as possible, whether it's a super tuned up, almost squeaky chipmunky sound in the background to something so low and compressed that it sounds like it's an absurdly large percussive drum. So it has every kind of vocal processing in that sense, and it also just has layers upon layers of different slightly changed vocals just to give it a chorusy effect. And so overall there's the main vocals, there's some vocal sampling processing, and then it was split up into different parts of the mix depending on what it was. But there were so many tracks, and it was so much fun. And overall, a lot of mistakes were made, but I think that's really what made it flourish. So, yeah.
That's Cole Boillat. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you.